Very good morning and good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are, of course. My name is Niels. I'm one of the directors and co-founders of the Neptune Cargo Network. On behalf of our team, a very warm welcome to our first Neptune Familiarization Meeting. Before we start with our program, I would like to request if you can switch to speaker view. Speaker view basically allows for a larger screen so you can enjoy the presentations and videos that we have for you a little bit easier. To start off with, our meeting this morning will last for about 30 minutes. And to start the program, I would like to break the ice a little bit and get ourselves introduced to one another. So I'll start with myself. My name is Niels. As said earlier, I live in Canada, but we are based out of Hong Kong and the Philippines, of course. And yeah, I basically would like to also get to see who we have here with us today. Maybe we could start with Harish. Harish, could you please unmute yourself, tell us about yourself, your company, and where you're from?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody.
Good morning.
I am Harish. I am from Mumbai. Frankly, as of now, everybody knows Mumbai is facing a very severe COVID situation.
Yes.
And pray God everything goes well so we can meet personally, because personal touch is something else which everybody likes.
Of course.
I am
Nobody
from a
says that.
I am from a company called Redline Logistics Private Limited. It's an Indian company. There's some background noise, I think.
No problem, no problem.
And we are purely into neutral LCL consolidation. Our major business is import. We are doing almost about yearly 30,000 LCL CBM import nominations from worldwide destinations. In short, my past career is I was ex Globaling, ex Ecoline, and now in this company.
Great. Thank you, Harish, very much for your quick introduction. I will try to keep this brief so we can get as many people introduced as possible. I have the next one here. Maybe we can see Anastasia. Could you introduce yourself and where you're from and tell us about your company?
Good morning, everyone. Actually, I'm from Russia, from Moscow, but I represent international company FS McKinsey International. Our head office is located in United Kingdom in London, and we have several offices not only in Europe but also in Russia. And we offer full service, full range of all services, including air freight, multimodal shipments, LCL shipments, road shipments, railway shipments, through all the world. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for your introduction. Moving on to Thomas. Thomas Broch.
Yes. Hello. Good morning,
Hi.
good afternoon, and good evening. I am, yes, my name is Thomas. I'm from DTK Air and Sea. We are a Danish-based freight forwarder who also offers air freight, sea freight, multimodal road freight. And yeah, basically it. We are based in Aarhus in Denmark.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, who else do we have here? I would like to see if we can hear from Fardan. Good morning, Fardan.
Hi, good morning, Neil. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm basically from Pakistan, and my company name is Fast Freight System Private Limited, and we are the LCL consolidator from you can say from Singapore, Dubai, China, and Europe. Also, we are doing the business from all over the world for pharmaceutical. We are specialized in pharmaceutical business in Pakistan.
Great. Good, thank you very much. Welcome. Moving on to Faith Selassie. Could you unmute yourself? Are we able to hear from you? We can see you. It's just the lighting maybe in your background that we have difficulty seeing you right now. There you go. Hi.
I'll try it again.
Patrick, hey, are you there? Okay, I think we'll move on. We'll move on to the next one. If we could move on to, let's see, who else do we have here? I see Rex. Rex, are you able to introduce yourselves for us? If you could unmute yourself. Sorry, we can't hear you. Can you unmute yourself?
Hello, did you hear me? Did you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. Good day to everyone. I'm Rex from RTFJ Movers. My company is a Total Logistics Company, which is NBOCC accredited and CAB, Civil Aeronautics Boards. So as a Total Logistics, I'm the owner of this company, and I have no partner. So any transaction with regards to the agreement is direct connected with me.
Okay, which country are you from?
And I'm from the Philippines.
Philippines. Hi, good morning. Welcome. Good evening to you. Thank you for your introduction. I would like to move on to Ubaid. Mr. Ubaid.
Hi, thank you for the invite. Firstly, my name is Ubaid. I am calling from a company called MEPL, which is in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. We established around 7 years ago. We expertise in GCC transportation and NVOCC as in FCLs within the Middle East and the Indian sectors. That's pretty much a basic I would like to give for now. Looking forward to talking with others in the near future.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, I will now move on to our network introduction video. It's a short 5-minute video, 5 to 10-minute video, where we'll introduce our group to you, our Neptune group, what it's all about, and basically who's behind it and what we do. So let me share the screen for you. There you go. Not this one. There it is.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. On behalf of our Neptune Cargo Network team, it is our pleasure to welcome you to our first familiarization meeting. During this conference, you will learn all the ins and outs of Neptune directly from the founders. Before I begin with introducing Neptune to you, I will guide you through our agenda for today. Today's program will last around 30 minutes or so with the following program. After my presentation about Neptune, we will be having an open Q&A to answer all the questions about our network, followed by a keynote presentation on logistics trends after COVID, and then our after movie from our last conference. Neptune Cargo Network is a network for consolidators and LCL forwarders under the company RW Solutions, which is a network management company that we have founded in Hong Kong in 2002. And we are operating our company out of the Philippines. RW Solutions, meanwhile, has 8 forwarding networks that are into industry niches. We believe that networks should be themed according to their handling advantages and interests for members to engage into more meaningful business exchanges with more qualified networking across the various brands. At present, we have 700 members from 90 countries under the RW umbrella, Neptune being the second biggest network that we have. Now, let me introduce to you who we are. Neptune Cargo Network is the first and biggest global NVOCC and LCL cargo network, which started in 2016 and now has around 190 consolidators and LCL forwarders from 61 countries. We started the network strong, attended by 140 delegates during our kickoff meeting in Bangkok, Thailand in 2017. We increased to 180 attendees in 2018, and then we grew to 230 participants in our last meeting in Manila, which was very, very well attended. Our Neptune family is truly growing, with global presence in 61 countries, and we will be glad to welcome you on board. Now let me jump straight into the benefits of being part of Neptune Cargo Network. Neptune is virtually represented in every corner of the globe, and by being part of the network, you will enjoy instant access to consolidating partners from all over the world that you can rely your business on. Being part of Neptune means that you will only work with trusted, screened, and reliable consolidators. Every new member application undergoes a due diligence to screen the company's financial stability, market reputation, sales strength, and length in operation. All members are likewise subjected to our code of ethics and guidelines of the network, which must be followed and adhered at all times. Members who have been reported and proven to be unethical in the line of business will be subject to probation. Although Neptune assures that every member is diligently screened, the network still wants to make sure that all your billings are paid. The network has a payment protection program with 5,000 immediate dispute protection, which will increase to 20,000 US dollars depending on the years of your stay with the network. Through our annual conference, we reduce your cost of traveling to several countries, as Neptune conducts an annual partnership meeting in different countries every year. In this meeting, you'll be able to meet and build contacts with hundreds of agents in one place. The annual conferences and meetings must be attended by Neptune members to fortify their relationship with other members. Since this pandemic, we conduct virtual meetings, and this year's virtual conference will be held on September 7 to 9. We promote our members and their services to the logistics industry by attending exhibitions in different parts of the world, including Intermodal, Break Bulk China, FIATA, the Freight Summit, and many more. Aside from attending leading exhibitions, we also distribute our agency list through our global database of around 40,000 freight forwarders. We have recently launched our brand new Neptune mobile app, where you can access our directory and agency list of consolidators and LCL forwarders anytime, anywhere, in just a few clicks. This is an exclusive information environment to keep up to date with members, message each other, and have a look at the social wall. I would like to invite you to our second virtual meeting, which will take place on September 7 to 9, 2021. This time, you will have the opportunity to take part in the face-to-face meetings with other consolidators and LCL forwarders from all over the world. And hopefully, we can all meet up in person next year for our most awaited 4th annual partnership meeting on March 8 to 11, 2022 in Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam. Thank you for sharing your time in attending our Neptune Familiarization Conference. Welcome to Neptune Cargo Network, the first and biggest NVOCC and LCL cargo network in the world. Stay safe and healthy during this time, and I look forward to welcoming you to Neptune very soon.
Okay, great. That was quite informative. Moving on, we actually are open to any of your questions in this next segment, which is live Q&A. If you do have any questions, feel free to shoot them at me or at Christian right now. We're here to answer your questions. Other than that, I would also recommend that you switch your view to the side-by-side gallery, which will be easier to see the upcoming conversations that we may have. So if you have a questions, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, I can also direct some questions to you and help answer them. For example, have you attended any consolidators events in the past? Have you been part of any consolidation network or events previously? That would be something that I would be curious to know. Obviously, the events are most important, are the most important element in any kind of group or network. It's important to meet face to face. Obviously, we're trying to bridge that that right now through virtual meetings, but nothing will ever replace the personal touch. I think this is something we have come to realize over the last 1.5 years. So it's very important for us to meet in person, and business is done in person. So we definitely see the value in that now more than ever. This is something that we definitely look forward to resuming, hopefully by early next year. How do you background check your partners when you do business with new partners? One of the ways to background check is through the FDRS service, local associations, of course, and by checking up the company names online. For example, I mean, just doing a simple Google search on company names and owners can already yield quite some interesting information if there are any records. I would also recommend checking how long the company has been in the business, and checking if the licenses are in place, and also doing, I think what's also quite important is to do an address verification, address proofing, making sure that the company is really where it's stating that it is there. So these are all little things one can undertake in order to, do your own little background check before working with somebody. And of course, checking with associations like us, networks like us. We have a vast area of information on a lot of companies around the world. So if you need to find out if you are working with a reliable partner or not, please ask us. And maybe the third suggestion and recommendation is about credit. How much credit should you provide to your partners, and how do you protect yourself? This is also a very important issue, of course, nowadays. We want to secure the business, of course, and we want to give some credit, but we're not sure how much we should give and how long, and can we trust the people that we're working with? So these are all very important questions that we need to have answered. So many times consolidators give each other credit that's not really clear, not clarified beforehand, and that puts you at risk. So, it's in our group, or in our Neptune Cargo Network, we have, of course, a payment protection scheme in place that provides you with the initial security and trust for you to go ahead working with somebody worry-free initially, right? This is one of the reasons why many companies decide to join networks, of course, is for that added layer of security that we can provide, right? Okay, we're still open and free for some questions. Feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to address any of your questions. If not, then I would like to proceed to.
May I ask for a question?
Yes,
please?
sure, Rex. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. How many? Since I'm the first time here in Neptune, how
Yes.
many members per country?
Now we have a limitation on the numbers of members per country. This depends on the size of the country, the geographic size, and the economic size of the country.
Okay.
On average, it's not more than 5 to 10. So the larger economies, the larger countries, we would accept up to 10 members. Whereas
Okay.
for the smaller countries, we would certainly not exceed 5 of those. So we try to strike a balance there between having a healthy amount of options for you to work with, and also to make sure that there's enough business to go around in a network, and to have a fair bit of competition as well, which is always healthy.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me check the chat here. Feel free to also post a question in the chat box if you would like. I will be happy to also, if you're too shy to ask live, I'll be happy to ask to answer.
I have a question.
Yes, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question. How can we effectively locate those who has a neutral consult toward Europe, to Rotterdam or Gdańsk and Gdynia within the network? Is there you can filter the partners somehow to find such services, or you just need to go around and keep asking?
Well, we do have within our agency list, we do categorize or we do label our partners according to their consolidation expertise that they provide. And then, of course, we do recommend still to get in touch with the partners directly to discuss specifics. But if you are looking for very specific requests, we can make recommendations on partners that have that expertise for you.
Okay, and do you mind if I ask another question?
Go ahead.
And because we are not the member of network yet, and we are considering, applying for a membership. So we have the interest in the inbound consolidated services to Europe. Is it possible to get some statistics from your side? You said that you have the members marked, labeled in some specific way. So would it be possible to see some statistics without seeing the names of the partners? I understand we are not the member yet.
Yes, what we can do for you is we can share with you our agency list where we have the detailed, let me say, not really detailed breakdown, but where we do label them according to the console services that they are, their consolidators and so on, right? The consolidation services that they provide. But we do not have the very detailed information there available because we don't get involved into that so detailed, right? So I can definitely send you that information first if that would be helpful for you. That's not a problem.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any further questions? Otherwise, I will.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question, please?
Sure, Mr. Bardul.
Yeah.
Bardul.
Yeah. I want to know if there is existing business with Bangladesh.
Existing business to Bangladesh?
To or from Bangladesh?
Well, I'm pretty sure that we do have existing business within the network because we have, I think, about 200 consolidators part of our group. So I'm pretty confident that there is business going in and out of Bangladesh. But to answer a very specific question, you'd have to get involved with the actual members directly. And I think Christian did mention that in his presentation. In September, we have another virtual meeting, another Neptune virtual meeting coming up, where you will actually get to meet with all the actual members of Neptune, and you get to take part in face-to-face meetings with them directly. So that's an opportunity for you to ask them straight away if there's any active business for you there right now. I'm pretty sure there is, just from our experience, but if you want to go into specifics, then that's something you would have to discuss with them directly.
Do you have already members in Bangladesh?
I am not sure at this moment. Mashi, let me just ask my colleagues.
Hi, sir. Let me answer on behalf of Mr. Yes. Right now, we have one member in Bangladesh. If you're familiar with Mercury, Bangladesh, so there are current members right now.
Okay. Thank you. So we are also interested to be your member.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, we can be, we are interested. Let's see all the details, and we may be interested in to be your member in Bangladesh.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Badrul. Well, my colleagues will be in touch after this conference. After this meeting.
Thank you.
Any other further questions, or should we move on to our keynote presentation?
One more question, if you don't mind. How many members from China?
We can answer you that question. How many members do we have in China there?
Can I ask who?
Second.
Sorry. I can't see your name, but I can definitely send you the list because we have so many members in China.
We have a lot of members
city
in
as well.
China.
Yes, but I can definitely send you our agency list for your record. Oh, okay. I have it now. We have 14 members in total in China alone.
14.
Thank you very much.
Nell, I have.
Yes, sorry, I can't hear you very well. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, Nell, I have a question. I am from Pakistan. As you know, there is some forwarder in Pakistan who are in the member of Neptune. So I would like to. Hello?
Go ahead, Fadan. Yes, go ahead, Fadan. What would you like to do?
Sorry, Fardan, can you unmute yourself again?
Now you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, Nell, I just have a question because my company is basically, we are the LCL Consolidator and we are the break bulk. So I'm willing to have a partnership with FreightLink Singapore, if you know FreightLink.
Yes.
So they are asking to deposit the $10,000, but I need to join the network of Neptune. On that behalf, I can start to build a business for LCL Consolidator from Singapore, from Europe, or other sector.
Yes.
So basically, I just need, is there any vacant in Pakistan, then I can join.
Okay. Our team, Cyrene, will let you know right after this call if we have any availability for membership. If I do remember quite well, we are quite full in Pakistan. I'm not 100% sure at this moment about the most up-to-date information, but I think Cyrene will be able to get back to you after this.
Yes, sir. Don't worry,
Okay,
I will message you about it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so let me move on. If there's no more questions, I will move on by sharing our, let's see where we are at. So let me just do this here. Oops. I'm kicked out. I got kicked out. No. There you go. This one.
Hello, this is Mark Miller, author of the book Global Supply Chain Ecosystems. I am pleased to be able to share with you my thoughts and insights about the COVID-19 impact on global supply chains. We are now on the cusp of a thrilling new era for supply chain. This coronavirus crisis has vividly exposed the profound interdependencies in today's global supply chain ecosystems and powerfully demonstrated the intrinsic risks in our complex, connected, volatile world. In this presentation, I will explore the supply chain ramifications of COVID-19, which is already proving to be a super accelerator of some pre-existing megatrends, including globalization shifts, digital disruption, and the e-commerce frenzy. The next normal will be characterized by uncertainty. But what is certain is that this virus will have significant supply chain implications, both over the short-term 12 to 18 months, but also over the subsequent 2 to 3 year medium term, such that supply chain 2025 will be substantially different on multiple dimensions. The initial impact of COVID-19 was supply-side gridlock, as mainland China went into a coronavirus-induced hibernation just after the extended Chinese New Year holidays. This resulted in global shortages of components and products, making it powerfully and painfully apparent just how global supply chains have become inextricably dependent upon China. COVID then embarked on its own globalization journey, spreading fear and uncertainty around the world as healthcare systems became overwhelmed. Widespread lockdowns ensued, with shops and businesses closing. High street retail came to an abrupt halt, triggering the most dramatic collapse in demand. The exceptions, of course, being medical supplies and equipment, which experienced an unprecedented surge in demand. As consumers became unable or unwilling to venture out of their homes, shopping for groceries and household essentials moved online en masse, turbocharging the e-commerce frenzy and generating unparalleled volume growth in small packages for home deliveries. Then, just as China started to reopen their economy and factories were getting back to work, production orders were getting cancelled due to excess inventories and lack of demand. And so global supply chains ground to a halt. As these extraordinary supply chain shocks reverberated around the world, companies are being forced to urgently reevaluate their sourcing strategies, business models, and distribution channels. This inevitably resurfaced discussions about the relocation of offshored production. Let's recap. Nearshoring is the relocation of production activities closer to the market where the products are going to be consumed. Onshoring, also known as reshoring, is one step further, whereby production is moved back into the country where the goods are going to be consumed. These are not new topics. Recall other huge supply chain shocks such as the Fukushima earthquake, the Iceland volcano, and the Thailand floods. They all triggered animated nearshoring discussions, championing the need to relocate production closer to the final consumption markets. However, what typically happens is that enthusiasm for change tends to dissipate as things soon get back to normal, and companies realize the actual enormity of truly reconfiguring their supply chains. But this time is different. This time, I believe, nearshoring will become more than just talk for a number of reasons. Firstly, this COVID crisis is much more severe in impact and global in reach than previous supply chain shocks. The consequences from a supply chain perspective will be much deeper, much wider, much more long-lasting. Secondly, this COVID predicament is intertwined with massive geopolitical tensions between the world's superpowers, tensions which have already triggered some companies to relocate the production of their US-destined products in order to avoid the US tariffs on China-sourced imports. And thirdly, with the continuing growth in emerging markets and the increase in intra-regional trade, globalization had already become somewhat stalled. And so with the increasing polarization between East and West, coupled with lingering frustrations about differences in business practices, I believe it's inevitable there will be some decoupling, resulting in changes to global trade flows. And so COVID becomes the catalyst that actually stimulates companies into taking real action on reshoring and nearshoring initiatives, which will reduce dependencies and diversify risks, but will obviously result in shorter supply chains. However, relocating your supply chain is much easier said than done. This is not for the faint-hearted. Today's supply chains have been built up and fine-tuned and developed over a number of years, if not decades. They cannot just be readily untangled, packed up and moved elsewhere. This is a serious undertaking, whether nearshoring or reshoring. It's a project that's likely to be measured in years, not weeks or months. And whilst COVID is the catalyst for companies to take action, COVID-related restrictions will inhibit the process of reconfiguring the supply chain by nature of travel-related limitations and, of course, the restriction on in-person exchanges. Accelerating the process, on the other hand, will be government incentives. The United States, with much fanfare, has announced grants and subsidies and tax relief for American companies that relocate their manufacturing back into the United States of America and create American jobs. It's not just America. Canada, Korea, some European countries have all announced initiatives to encourage the relocation of manufacturing. Japan, for example, has allocated a $2.2 billion fund to help Japanese companies repatriate their manufacturing back into Japan and create local jobs. Now, of course, in these first world economies, there's a concern about the high cost of labor. And this is where I believe we'll see automation come readily into play. Robotics and automation are substantially lower cost now than they were 20 or 30 years ago when we started the offshoring globalization journey. And readily available, economically viable automation solutions will ease the process of reshoring manufacturing back into developed market economies. Now, for nearshoring, the key beneficiaries need to obviously be in close proximity to the final consumption market and have lower cost platforms. So the key contenders for the United States market, for example, would be Mexico as the leading contender, leveraging the North American Free Trade Agreement as well. For European markets, Eastern European countries such as Poland, Turkey, Hungary would be leading contenders as nearshoring platforms. So nearshoring will reduce reliance on Asia in general and China specifically, and we'll see the supply chains being typically much more regionally focused and therefore shorter. They could be configured as made in Latin America for America or made in Eastern Europe for Europe. However, this will in no way result in a mass exodus of manufacturing outside of China, but we will see some diversification across the Asia region. Several reasons for this. First of all, we are now firmly in the Asian century. 1/3 of global GDP is in Asia. We are home to 1.8 billion people in the consuming class. And by the year 2030, Asia will represent 2/3 of the world's middle class. So made in Asia for Asia will remain a very viable supply chain strategy for generations to come. And this will enable companies to capitalize on the huge potential across Asia's emerging economies. At the same time, more and more companies will also be diligently exploring their China Plus options, looking for additional locations around Asia for sourcing and production of products and components where there is abundant labor that is lower cost than the China labor has become. Different sectors will have a different mobility, if you like. Garments, footwear, sports goods, furniture, their supply chains are relatively mobile or movable, certainly compared to much more complex products and supply chains like high-tech electronics, household goods, and automobiles. So the leading contenders around the Asia region, they vary by industry segment. But Vietnam, Indonesia, India, Bangladesh, Cambodia, these are all contenders for post-pandemic divergence of production activities that can leverage their low-cost labor markets. However, none of these alternatives can match the huge extent of China's resources. China remains the clear leader in both scale and scope, leveraging its massive infrastructure investments over the last 20 years and its huge workforce. And for that very reason, many supply chains will remain in China, or at least remain China-centric. And that includes all the multinational companies who are selling into China's enormous domestic market, whether they are targeting the consumer or the industrial segments. Such companies will retain within China all their manufacturing, sourcing, and assembly activities for goods destined for sale in the domestic China market in the supply chain strategy that is now known as in China, for China. So in summary, the consequences of COVID-19 will result in a step change for global trade as we know it, spelling the end of 30 years of globalization. Post-pandemic, the next normal will see some radical reconfiguration of global supply chains, adopting a much more regional and localized approach. Evolving through to year 2025, we can expect to see widespread deployment of shorter supply chains that increase control, increase responsiveness, and increase resilience, whilst also reducing lead times, reducing transport costs, and reducing emissions, and helping to mitigate risk. And so in times of such great uncertainty, it is best to be prepared. Companies should be planning for the worst, hoping for the best, and always expect the unexpected.
Great, that was an interesting one. Thank you very much for your time listening to this lengthier keynote presentation. We are coming to the end of our meeting. We have one final small 2-minute video to show you our last year's Neptune get-together or meeting in Manila. It will give you an idea of what we did, how it looked like, and just a taste of the very unfamiliar, which is meeting in person again. So this is something that we can all appreciate. Let me share the screen for that. Okay, close this one. Those were the days. Thank you for joining our Neptune Familiarization Meeting. I hope it gave you some insight and knowledge into what we do, what we stand for, and how we do things.